disconnect the end of there.
Power run here for Charbonnet that gets kind of blown up from some submarines out of Maryland. So you got a one-on-one block here from McCune, down blocks on the left side from John Runyon Jr., Bredesen, and Ruiz. You're going to have Mayfield blocking down on the play side here to help cover the area vacated from Onwenu on his block to the outside. And then number 80, I'm not sure who number 80 is, but he is blocking this guy on the edge. You're going to have Ben Mason leading the way here, and Charbonnet as well. So let's look at the backside, kind of this entire mess before looking at the backs and the front side here. So it's just a mess. So let's go back here. You'll see that the entire interior of the defensive line for Maryland, just submarines here. That's going to take out this entire interior line. McCune is fine on the backside here. One thing to note, the guy who makes the play is this defender who just comes screaming down the edge. You won't expect him to do that. He's just on a straight up blitz, and that's really bad given the action here and the blocking assignment. So just unfortunate there, but you know, nothing to really do about this. That's just how this play develops. Looking at the play side blocks here. So number 80 has a head up block here, one-on-one. He does absolutely fine, no issues there. And when you on his pull, he's actually going to get away with a hold here. He just kind of clotheslines this guy. That's a very clear hold. You cannot do that. And then Ben Mason is supposed to be going here. This is initially where the ball's supposed to go. Given this submarine, not really a clear path here. I think Ben Mason does the right job here by sealing this off, giving this lane for Charbonnet instead to the outside. So Charbonnet has to redirect. That delays him a little bit, and that allows for this backside blitz to get home. Who just makes a nice play. You know, you got to give it to him. So combination of this mess with you know, this hold that probably should have gotten called. It's just kind of a mess everywhere. Charbonnet didn't have the speed to get away from this blitzing defender on the backside. So just a nice play call from Maryland there.
How you have not petitioned to have a statistic for team intersections as opposed to quarterback interception.
Frustrating check down here on 3rd and 6. Maryland is only sending 3 on pressure, so they're dropping 8 in coverage here. Michigan's keeping 5 in, plus Haskins here initially in pass protection, so the pocket is really clean for Patterson. At the time of his throw, he still probably had a couple seconds before anyone get to him. Maybe this spy would have blitzed, but as it looks, he didn't have anything coming at him. So you got a crossing route here from Eubanks. Looks like Ronnie Bell here is on sort of a seam route, going to have an angle route out of Giles Jackson out of the backfield. You're going to have this little pass protection before going into the flat. This is eventually where the ball will go. Then I think this is Tariq Black up on the screen. Inside release, probably a post route here. It's really hard to tell exactly where he goes. So the initial read here for Patterson is over here on this angle route. He's hoping that this linebacker isn't able to stick with Giles Jackson on his cut. Unfortunately, he's on him. He does get a little handsy here, but you know, he's not open. It's not an open pass. It's not a good read there. So Patterson shifts over to the middle of the field. You got these 2 linebackers, plus there's a guy right behind Eubanks that is stopping this crossing route from being a viable option. And that's why the check down happens here. I don't really like it because there's still a guy there. If this guy is looking more towards the quarterback, he could potentially make a play on this ball. He doesn't, so it's only, you know, a loss of 1, but still not the safest pass. I think what I would have liked to see, so this safety follows Eubanks on his crossing route. That leaves 1 deep safety here, right? And you have 2 deeper routes. You got one from Ronnie Bell here, one-on-one coverage right here. And then you got either Collins or Tariq Black on this sort of route here, one-on-one. The safety has to go one way. This is a lot to read for Patterson, but go to the receiver that he does not go to, especially if this is Nico Collins one-on-one in coverage. You should probably do that. Instead, the options were all short options. So 1, not open, 2, not open, and 3. So they were challenging to go deep. Patterson's reads did not take him there. The result is a loss of 1.
On the helmet, he won lots of games when he was here as a 13 or 14-year-old coming.
Play action pass here to Eubanks, throws a little bit high. Michigan is running this sort of action here to Charbonnet. They're pulling Onwenu. Both of these actions is try to get both of these linebackers up, as well as this linebacker reacting to open up this crossing route. This is the first read here for Patterson, so the more open this area is left by these linebackers, the better this play will be. So that's the first read. Looking at the routes real quick, so you have an outside release crossing route. Again, this is your first read. You're going to have an out and up out of St. Ristol up the sideline. You're going to have an inside release, kind of a skinny post here out of Ronnie Bell. So the first read is pretty open. I think right now he's looking for this crossing route. He needs to be throwing this, accelerating this as much as possible, because play action did what it had to do. It sucked up all of these guys in their zone, opens up this area. The safety is still too far back to do anything here. If he can loft this pass, you know, put a little air on it, doesn't have to throw it too hard, that's a big win right now. He waits an extra beat. That allows this middle linebacker to get back, and that forces a higher throw out of Patterson. Higher throw forces Eubanks to go up and behind him here, and this safety is reacting, trying to get a pick out of this as well. So that's why you kind of see that safety reacting this way, and that's why this play is unsuccessful. I think it was a little bit late and obviously high and behind Eubanks. One thing that Michigan takes advantage of later that they didn't see in this play, look at this route combo up here and how Maryland plays this. They're not ready for this play at all. This guy bites really hard, and they surely saw this up in the booth and said, hey, we got to run that again. And they did run it again with McCune down the sideline a little bit later. So with this guy on the skinny post, this quarterback has to follow, and this guy has no chance of covering this route down the sideline, and that's why we saw that right before the field goal at the end of the first half. St. Ristol would have had an easy touchdown here. This was the first read, so you can't blame Patterson for throwing that, but Michigan learned from that and capitalized on it later.
Mark has ever seen, and I hope you wear it with pride, because I certainly did.
Nice little redirection action here out of Michigan. So play design is pretty clever. They're going to pull John Runyon Jr. across the formation here, and this is all to get these two linebackers flowing this way. The rest of the blocks are just one-on-one here from Bredesen, one-on-one from Ruiz, and when you're trying to get to one of these linebackers for this play, and then just one-on-one backside. So Turner's coming across the formation here. Key block here is going to be Eubanks. He needs to get to the edge here. There's going to be a blitzer here. He's going to chip him just to get enough room for Turner to the outside. That's all this is. Everything here is just to open up, get these guys get Turner out here before these guys can start flowing this way. And then you're in a win column here. So let's focus on the first issue here. Eubanks has to deal with this blitzer. He gets a chip on him, and this defender decides to dive. He just makes a nice play. He's flowing way inside. He has to make a shoestring tackle. You could argue Eubanks could get a little bit more piece of him to try to shove him inside more. I think it's just a better defensive play than anything else. He ends up making that play. So let's just look at the rest of the play design. So, and here executed well from Bredesen and Ruiz. This pull from John Runyon Jr. actually does what it's supposed to accomplish. Watch these two linebackers here. They're reacting. They're sucking inside. They're expecting this inside action here for the run. So that accomplishes this completely. And when he was able to push this guy out of the way, and this guy's completely out of position for this run. If we move it forward here a little bit, Turner has this all day. He's way faster than this guy. Plus you have Eubanks now to deal with him on the play side. So looking at the wider view of this, I'll skip forward here. Looking at the wider view of this, so you have, I zoomed in, sorry for the poor quality, but you have these two guys blocking here. Again, here's Eubanks shoving this blitzer, and then he's getting to the outside here. So if this guy isn't able to make the play in the backfield, you got a ton of room, ton of space out here. It looks like St. Ristol here whiffs on this block, but regardless, this play was set up really well. Just a good play by that defender.
Michigan has found no such success. Throwing on 3rd and 7.
Frustrating play here on 3rd and 7. Maryland is sending 4 on the pass rush. So this guy, this defensive end, they're sending number 4, and then you're going to loop this guy around, kind of attacking and awaiting you here. So protection is initially fine. Mayfield is way out of position here. See how you can see his butt here. He should be head up, kind of how these linemen are faced here. So this forces Nwenu to stay on this block. He's not able to shift down and pick up the stunter here. Luckily, it's a quick throw, so Patterson is able to get it out before this pressure gets here. But you'd like to see Mayfield do much better there on that play. You can't see Nico Collins. I'm guessing he's doing a similar route to Tariq Black here on the sideline. This is the target route. And then you're going to have seam routes here from, I think, Ronnie Bell and Eric all here just to get the safeties away from the sidelines and ensure that this is a one-on-one route on the sideline. So this is the number one read for Patterson on the outside here. Main issue, this is number one read. He's only now loading up to throw this ball while Tariq Black is making his cut. So I think it's a debate whether the blame is on Patterson or Tariq Black. I don't know if his eyes are purely on this guy already. He might be looking towards the safety. It's hard to tell. But really, this is the first option, I believe. And he needs to be throwing the ball already. So this is a comeback route. He needs to be throwing the ball as this guy's getting out of his break. Tariq Black was sitting there for a full second before the ball was delivered, and that's why Tariq Black has to come back behind the sticks here and towards the outside where the throw actually was. So it's an actually pretty good route. Maybe you could argue that Tariq Black is cutting this a little early. I think if he's cutting at the 30 and it's the same timing of the throw, he's turning back as the ball is in the air, maybe right here, 5-7 yards away. But he's cutting it a little short, so there's no room for error. That little bit of error, that little bit of a late throw forces Tariq Black behind the sticks, and that's not a first down.
Time there, and I think it's now the right time for him to be the head coach here.
Here's Patterson on 3rd and 8.
Frustrating play here, tip pass. Let's look at the pass rush for Maryland, number 48. Coming to the outside here, defensive tackle is going this way. He's trying to occupy all three of these linemen in conjunction with his defensive end to try to free up this stunt on the right side here of the Michigan offensive line. So number 15 is trying to get to the gap, hopefully left by Onwenu, as both he and Mayfield have to initially deal with number 4 off the edge. So looking at the right side here, you'll see that Mayfield is trying to get both guys, and Onwenu is foreseeing this stunt. Mayfield doesn't get enough depth here. Onwenu is now shifting here, but you can see Mayfield's way out of position here, and he's actually holding at the time of the throw. This also allows number 4 a clean swipe at the ball, which he will knock it down. On the left side here, everyone's clean. It's 3 versus 2. You'd expect them to do well, and they do. But again, number 4 is right here in position. Mayfield needs to be out in front of this and anticipating better there. Looking at the routes, you got a deeper cross route here out of Ronnie Bell. You have an out route here from McCune to the sideline. And then you have a shallow cross from Giles Jackson. And then you have True Wilson getting out to the flat. This is where the intended pass was going. So my main issue on this play is, number 1, with Mayfield. Obviously, he has to do better. First read is here on McCune, right? Looks like good coverage on McCune. This guy breaks well. Not the best route. But at this point already, he's looking at True Wilson. He's going there. This linebacker is reading this. He's going to scream down. Even if this was complete, it likely wouldn't be a first down. Issue I have here, he never checks this safety. This is Ronnie Bell coming across here. This is a very wide open area. The safety wouldn't be able to react on that if the throw was there. And you have Giles Jackson, likely a better option than what you have with True Wilson, given where this linebacker is going. So it was a little bit quick of a check down here for Patterson. Obviously, number 4 gets a tip on it, but I don't think it would be a first down anyway. That's just frustrating to not give your offense a chance to make plays beyond the line to gain.
Calling it 1st and goal. Patterson to throw.
Little play action flood concept here for Michigan. So all the offensive line is blocking down to the left. It's all trying to sell this motion here, and that's both to get these linebackers reacting this way, as well as get this guy to either hold up or shift to the backside here, or at least come down the line. If he's going to get into the backfield, at least come down the line before this fake, and that's going to allow for kind of the flood concept routes that you have out of the backfield, as well as a boot here for Patterson. So that's kind of the play design. Main thing that blows this up is this guy. So Patterson's supposed to be rolling here. This guy takes a good angle and really constricts everything that Patterson's trying to do here. He's already throwing the ball super early right here. The routes haven't even developed. Eubanks is only now getting out of his break. Same with Nico Collins. He's only getting across the field. and this is really the only option given this guy is right in Patterson's face. So let's take a step back here and look at the actual routes themselves. So like I said, it's a flood concept. You're going to have Nico Collins, kind of your last-ditch effort coming across the formation. You're going to have a corner route or flag route here out of Eubanks, and then coming across the formation into the flats is Haskins. So like I said, this guy made a really good read and had lots of great speed. So this play is predicated on Patterson being able to flow to this play, flood with these routes, and he just has to throw right away. So really it's doomed from the start. Again, better defensive play than anything that the offense can do. You could, I initially thought that this was a missed throw and that he should have thrown it here, but Patterson's already throwing it, so given it's such an early throw, he gives all these guys the ability to flow this way without accounting for any of the routes from either Collins or Eubanks. So that's why this play is doomed. This guy forces an early throw. All the defensive backs can converge on Haskins.
Took that big shot at Wisconsin. Back healthy. True Wilson.
Orbit motion to True Wilson for a couple yard loss. Let's look at what Michigan is at least designing to do on this inside zone. So here's the handoff. Actually, good job by McCaffrey to get this high snap. But so you have one-on-one block John run in here, as well as Bredesen on the backside. You're going to have Ruiz getting to the second level, trying to get to this linebacker. You're going to have a double team between these two guys before Onwenu supposed to drop off for the second level on this linebacker, and then one-on-one with McCune on the edge. This orbit motion is just to get this guy reacting here instead of coming into the backfield, as well as trying to set up these linebackers coming outside here a little bit to set up these blocks. Keep them at home for the second level blocks. So that's the play design overall. Let's take a look at the left side of Michigan's offensive line, see how they do. So good initial chip out of Ruiz here before getting to this linebacker. And then the one-on-one blocks beyond that seal off here. Bredesen does a really good job getting his head across, sealing off this left side of the hole here. And Ruiz is set up really well. You can see that this motion did its job. 25 is in no man's land. This outside linebacker reacted this way, and Ruiz is here waiting right now when this guy is finally reacting. So everything's good on the left side of the offensive line here. Really quick looking at McCune. Does a really good job. I can't speak. Really good job sealing this guy off. I really like how he turned his body here. That gives this path for True Wilson. You saw there was an issue here, though, and that's with this double team. This is why this play fails. So they get a good initial push here, and then they both drop. I think Onwenu is the correct guy to go out here on this linebacker. I think Mayfield is likely the guy who's supposed to stay here. He does not stay. They both say, hey, how about you get a True Wilson? And he obliges, and that's why this is a big loss.
Yeah, Maryland will see better days. I think under Coach Lockley, they are coming sooner.
Play action pass across the middle here, almost a pick. It's an interesting little play action here. They're going to bring the play action across here before Haskins goes into pass protection. They're going to pull into kind of a trap pass protection with Onwenu here on the right going to the left. It's pretty interesting here. It looks like John Roney Jr. completely forgets he's in pass protection and then doubles back here. So he catches himself and probably gets away with another hold here. But since it's a quick throw, no one really gets through here. And Maryland is really only sending 3. They're only sending these guys. These guys initially come up, especially these two, biting on the run fake. This guy will drop back. He's actually the guy who makes the play on the ball. And this guy picks up McCune across the middle here on his in route. So that's kind of what Maryland is bringing here. So only 3 in a pass rush with a couple guys just biting up from the run action here. So looking at routes, it's really hard to tell. Top of the screen looks like an out and up. I think this is Ronnie Bell. Cornelius Johnson here looks to just be running a fly route. And then there's one other guy probably down here doing something a little bit shorter, but it's hard to tell. And then you had the in route here from McCune that I stated that McCaffrey is reading here. So he just straight up doesn't see this guy at all. So number 4 initially comes up before dropping into this area that intercepts this route here. Not literally, but he's there. So good coverage actually by this linebacker. And McCaffrey is just reading this. He doesn't see this guy at all. Makes the throw, and fortunately was not picked. So just got to have a little bit better vision there from McCaffrey.
Pretty close to
Tyler, yeah, about the same with top 4. Doesn't matter, 3 or 4.
Christian Turner. The ball carrier.
Big loss here from Turner here on what looks like a pin and pull blocking concept. So you're going to have a backside block here from, who is that, Ryan Hayes? No, Mayfield. Similar with Ruiz. And is that Bredesen? No, John Runyon Jr. So these are all just the pin blocks, the down blocks here. You're going to have pulls from both Bredesen here. He's going to try to kick out here, and then a lead block here through this hole for Onwenu. 86 Schoonmaker is getting this linebacker, and this run is coming across here to the outside. These wide receivers have these defensive backs one-on-one. So key block here, and then a key pull from Onwenu coming through the hole on the play side. So that's the play design. I'll point out the one guy, if you haven't seen him already, who blows this up is this blitzer off the edge here. So this is the guy that Bredesen has to get anyway. He's the guy who would have been coming up already. He's just here faster than anyone anticipated. He does a really smart thing by not coming upfield here like Bredesen seemingly thought he would, and he cuts back inside. That holds up any sort of flow here, both from the running back and when you through that hole, and that creates a bounce here. And once you bounce, you get a lot more reaction, a lot more flow to the ball, as you saw here. So that guy blows up everything. Compounding issues, it's good block here. Everything backside is doing well. Schoonmaker needs to stay engaged on this guy. This guy shucks Schoonmaker really easy, and he's the first guy to really make contact here with Turner, and that's a big issue. So from that, it's just pedestrian, everyone getting to the ball beyond that. So guy blitzing off the edge, that's unfortunate. Schoonmaker needs to do a better job as well.